it'll tell us. It's got a buzz in my pocket, so that means we're live for sure.
Welcome, Black and Tan. 0.005%.
So this is the cool part. How many episodes are we in?
This is number 22.
22 episodes in, and that's a special.
It's our lucky day.
It's your lucky day. We're adults now as far as when it comes to our podcast. Actually, we were an adult podcast last time. Not an adult podcast, but
But nowadays,
21. 21.
I'm pretty sure not many people throw the adult word
yeah,
in
no,
the context of
yeah, not too many people. You've known me long enough to know that there's not much adultness going on here, right? Like I like to have a good time and I like to stay as young as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 50 years old, but
And no one would know.
You don't look a day over 49.
that's true. That's true. I said that the other day when I looked in the mirror.
Are
I
you
said that to myself. I was like, dude, you look 48.
Are you going to introduce?
Yes. So this is my dear friend, Erin. Erin started Muddy Pedals. Muddy Pedals is a women's coaching group. No, you know what? I'm going to let you tell us what Muddy Pedals is. I'm going to say something that's not.
I like to call it a women's mountain bike community because it is so much more than just like rides and camps and clinics. We've grown and grown and grown, and now it is bigger and things are happening that I don't even know are happening. So I think it's a whole community in and of itself.
Nice.
we have a crochet club.
Yeah, crochet club. There's like gardening.
There is.
What?
Just
I think we need to walk something back.
rides.
We need to introduce Rachel.
Yes, we need to introduce Rachel. She's also the president of the crochet club.
Yes, many hats. Yes. I'm Rachel Chambers, and new-ish to Muddy Pedals. I wasn't here for the beginning parts of it, but definitely here for some of the really good parts of it.
Right on.
The best part was the first ride Rachel came to.
Oh, yeah.
We're on the ride, and Linz and I were leading the fast group. And then at the end of the ride, Linz goes, "Who was the one in the spandex with the hardtail and the clipless pedals?" And now we love her.
Yeah.
It was a journey. Journey.
A journey to baggy shorts.
I feel like that's what mountain biking is in the first place. No matter where you start, no matter how you come into it, it's always a journey. You're going somewhere. You're never going to stay where you are in mountain biking. It's always going somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you get an email from me about a clinic, it talks about your mountain bike journey.
For sure.
How long? When did you start?
2013. So this is 10 years. 2023 is 10 years. And it started as nothing. Like one or two people would show up for a ride.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going back a little bit again, me and Erin go way back. We were just saying that we went back since 2006, 2007-ish, around there, maybe earlier. Erin used to come into the shop and I think I sold you one of your first real mountain bikes.
My first custom mountain bike.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz, super light, and I really wanted grip shifting for some reason.
I sold it. You can tell one of my early bike builds because even back then I was tall. And
You're all grip shifting?
yeah. Oh no, that was her. You went.
Did you make fun of my skinny?
Listen, yeah. She was like part of her journey, right?
We
She
had
was
ball
on the trip.
transform.
That's right. So build her a custom bike, became super cool customers of ours. So it's when I had Fleet Street Cycles. I'm sorry, I had Avalon Cycles. Super cool customers of ours. I mean, build them a couple bikes, like literally, with anytime I needed something from, they were that customer that anytime I needed something, they would be like, "Here you go. I got you. Don't worry about it." As a customer. And we have everybody has, like, Paul's basically that customer to me now. Right? Like, if I needed something, I needed Paul to work in the shop for an hour or so, he'd come in and work there. That's kind of how they were when they first came in. We ended up doing. We did 24 hours of snowshoe. We did a couple of things.
That's a lot of years.
It's a lot of years ago, but we've been pretty tight since then.
So 10 years ago, you started at 3 people. Where are you at now?
We have about 80 people show up on a ride when we're at like in the throes of things.
80 people for a group now.
Yeah, yeah.
It splits up.
Yeah, no, but still, that's a lot.
It's something for everyone. Like literally, like it's your first time on a mountain bike. You're like, I can ride a bike, but I've never ridden trail. We got you. You're out there racing. We got you. And everything.
Nothing wrong with wearing spandex for the mountain bike.
You will get me fun, but that's just you're still welcome.
Yeah.
You're still welcome.
What I say about wearing spandex, if you're going to show up to a ride in spandex, nowadays, you better perform.
Yeah.
Like, you almost got to perform. You can't be the slow dude in the back in spandex. Like, if you're going to show up to a ride nowadays in spandex, I'll rock
You
my
gotta
spandex.
mean it.
We were in spandex today on our mountain bikes.
We did ride. Didn't we ride today?
We did ride.
We
today.
did ride today.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. It's a hypothetical question.
Okay.
If you ride with a good friend,
This is going somewhere. I can tell. It's going
Very hypothetical.
very hypothetical, and I guess do you guys have like a group chat or you communicate with every side?
Yeah.
And your bud has a bad day on the bike because he did 2 hypothetical workouts prior to riding out.
Mhm.
Would you throw him under the bus on that group chat?
Yes.
All right, so hypothetically speaking, again,
Yes.
what if that bud is like the fast guy in the group, right? And he had 2 hard workouts right before he went mountain biking with you. And for once, you could see him as human. Not saying that he was slow, but I'm like, oh, dude, I finally saw.
That ride is now race paced. You have to.
I did not drop him. Let's check. Oh, hypothetically, I did not drop him.
If you regularly get your butt kicked,
Right.
somebody, and then you have an opportunity
Almost like
to
a
return
bullet.
the favor, to return the
Spoken
friendship
like a
favor.
spandex wearer. Spoken
Yeah,
like a
almost
You
like-
have to do, it's your obligation.
Almost like a bully.
They have never breathed your dust. They haven't seen what the backside of you was like. They've never sat
This
and
is where
wondered which
roots-
way you've gone.
These
That's
roots coming out.
You know,
Were you a racer?
I was a racer, and I was one in the back for a while too. And then when I got fast, I didn't wait for those.
And she is a racer.
Still racing?
Still a racer, but no, it's different.
What are you racing?
Enduros mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, the occasional 6-hour ride.
If you guys had to say what style of riding you gravitate, you push people towards, what would it be? Is it more XC? Is it more gravity? Is it more?
Dirt is what we push people towards.
Okay.
Like I really don't think we push in any direction. Like we have people ride downhill. People who definitely prefer cross country.
Mhm.
I think many of us ride more enduro style, but that doesn't really come up on like Monday rides.
I think the one you pushed the most was 6 hours, and it's only because
Oh,
you could
yeah.
relay it. So you were with a buddy the whole time, and had the pit tent. It was a great day, and you could do as much or as little as
What
you
is this
wanted to
called?
do. So the 6 hours of Woodstock is
Okay,
that race
okay.
up there.
Joe's
Joe's puts it
Mm-hmm.
on. I think it's a fantastic way to get into quote unquote racing because it's an atypical race style. Woodstock is something that's very accessible to people in Tahoe, and you pick a buddy, you go out there and you ride. I rode with my boyfriend, and we just did 6 hours like a casual ride. You know, you don't have to race it.
Yeah,
Get
we
your
many
pit stop.
people.
We had a stocked pit stop. I mean, we could have fed everybody there.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Home baked goods,
If
all
you
your
race with
race ready
ladies,
stuff. It's
you
crazy.
are
And not just
fully
that, when we show up and there's like 3 mechanics ready to just take your bike off it. So
Right.
I think one year I swapped out our wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like right at one of the pit stops. It's great. So I think we push people towards that just because it's local, it's fun, it's as intense
Definitely.
or mellow as you need it to be.
Right. So a lot of people already think that mountain biking is like super dangerous, right? And I always tell people like riding on the road to me is a lot more dangerous than riding in the woods. I've seen more injuries this year with people on the road, crashing on the road. I've seen people crashing in the woods. What would you say to someone, say for instance, we have another big road group that we sponsor. It's Velo City. What would you say to those people that want to come in, that I'm trying to talk them into coming in onto the mountain bike side? What would you say to them to encourage them, to come give it a try?
Honestly, I mean, that's one of the many reasons that I started Bike Pedals. Like, it's such a scary sport. It's not dangerous. I promise. My
Throw the
fingers
finger. Bye bye.
yeah. But it doesn't have to be dangerous if you enter it properly. So professional mountain bike instruction, I think, is huge. So you know what you're doing and why, and that can really help set the foundation for safe, fun rides. And you progress and build from there in a super confident and comfortable way. So mountain biking, I don't think it's inherently dangerous. It can be if you don't do it right. You don't know the right equipment. You don't know the right body positions. You don't know the right trails. So those are all the things I think that we address in our Monday night rides and then our clinics.
Right.
Is like breaking down all those barriers.
How often do you guys do the clinics?
Clinics are kind of random throughout the spring, summer, and fall. Mostly weekends. We do some Wednesday evenings just to throw something else out there. And then we do one camp in the fall. As of right now, it's like a Friday to Sunday skill-based and rides all together.
I know some people have attended. I can't speak for really.
Yeah, it's a really good weekend. It's become pretty popular.
So, before we get any deeper, I want to make sure that our audio and everything is. There we go.
Stop.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's the truth.
So I wanted.
It's hard.
I look at the screen. I'm sorry. Look, Paul's supposed to be in charge of looking at the screen. I'm not even supposed to have a monitor.
I can be your executive functioning only so far. I can't manage with you.
All right. It's true. It's true. He's also my life coach. But so check it out. So there's certain levels of certification that you have for your coaches also. What are the certifications that they go through, and what certifications do you have?
So there's two kind of major certifications you can get, or groups you can get certified by. So PMBIA and BICP. I have one of each, or a couple of. So I have PMBIA level 1 and then BICP 1 and 2. And they're just different mindsets. BICP is like a breakdown. 1, 2, 3. These are the steps to do a skill. And B is like a theory and a feeling. And I'm not like super theory and feeling. So I like BICP, like black and white, give me the steps. But they're both great. And I think like the combination of them is awesome. So that's for me. And then I have my air coming up so we can jump in,
Right.
Our ride leaders for Mondays, they are all at least certified through BICP as ride guides, and then a bunch of them as BICP 1, and then a few as BICP 2. So when you're out there, they don't necessarily have to be the best riders or guides, but they are enthusiastic and they're knowledgeable about leading.
Is one of those certifications is one of the founders Shams?
Yeah, Shams March is the BICP. I did my first certification with Shams and Cat Suite out in Tahoe.
Oh, legit.
And it was legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was like, I have to go to that one. That's definitely the one.
Is that
Right on.
is that the favorite place you've ever been?
No. Oh, man. The favorite. There's been a lot of places. I'm gonna say Vancouver, BC.
Yeah.
BC's pretty cool.
I think.
Where
Over. What?
Yeah, Moab. I love Moab. I don't know. It's so
Do you like
different.
it-
I love
you
the
like it better-
loam.
You like it better than Horse Thief?
Yes.
Because Horse Thief's not in Moab, but I know you rode Horse Thief.
Yeah, Grand Junction and Fruta are
Yeah.
phenomenal, but I don't know. I did Mount From
Okay.
in Vancouver.
Okay. Wow.
And it was butt fucker.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So before I got hurt, I went to BC and I rode a lot of actually went out to North Shore,
Yeah.
rode some of like stupid stuff. I wouldn't ride it because I'm like, I just got to see some. I don't think anyone's riding this. I think they put it up there as a prop to show people, to
Right.
make people think that someone's going to ride up there. But I didn't ride the crazy stuff. But the stuff that I did ride, like you said, was just like, it was the whole time you're just scared.
I mean, the
But
easy
an
street-
excitement, yeah, you're scared, but
Absolutely.
you're excited at the same time.
When you
Right.
see those trails on like Instagram, where they're like the planks,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And see, when I went,
And
was
you know
when
that
that was,
that's dumbed down because you're looking through the screen.
Yeah.
You know it's
Yeah.
way worse.
If it looks big on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know it's serious.
so when I went was when that style of riding was like really big, right? 26-inch wheels, like, you know, they, for some reason they wanted to ride a 2x4 30 feet up in the trees. And that was like the big style, right? Just big drops to flat, like craziness. So I didn't do any of that stuff because again, I'm riding that stuff in spandex, right?
Mhm.
There's only so much you should risk.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think that they like-
It keeps you, see, when you have your spandex on, it's like it keeps you from crossing that line. You know what I mean? For the most part. So
doing stupid stuff.
yeah,
Making friends? Oh, sorry.
yeah. Just, or well, the friends, think about how cool the friends are that you do.
You know they're real. You know
When
they're
you're a
real.
real friend,
It's a
when
deep
you roll up in
friendship, And they
spandex,
don't say anything or
Like,
give you
dude.
the side eye.
it is what it
Just
is.
really, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you would pick that over. That's big, man. Because I tell you what, I would pick maybe horse beef as my favorite.
Top favorite?
One of. I mean, it's like you said, it's like trying to pick your favorite child, right? It's like it's super hard. It's like I want to say horse thief is one of those magical trails that when you get out on it, it has everything. The trail itself has flow. It has tech. It has the scenery is postcard. You're riding on a shelf over top of the Colorado River. It's just
Have you cleaned the entrance though?
no. Let's start off with a big no. But the very first time I dropped in, I didn't know that that's what it was, and I launched into it.
Mhm.
So I'm going into it full speed. I made it, no lie, maybe 8 feet from the end,
Mhm.
and my front wheel got stuck in a rock and it twisted my bars.
I know, right?
So I'm like, okay, I'll just go back up and do it again.
Mhm.
Well, now I've seen it.
Mhm.
And now my body's like, I'm not just reacting out of like, so I'm going into it slower now. And I've only made it down to close to the bottom. I can do most of the hard. It's always something that,
It's like big. It's like big steps, and they get bigger, and then it's like some.
yeah. But you watch the locals hit it a couple of times, and you're like, okay, I think I can do it. But again, it's that, is it worth the squeeze? You know, you're like, you crash on it, you're gonna fall on rocks, you're gonna fall off a 6-foot ledge, or there's really no good way around
It's gonna hurt.
it. It's gonna hurt. No
It's
matter.
gonna rip up your spandex.
Your spandex are getting ripped,
Mhm.
guaranteed.
Definitely be holes.
Right.
Be a little awkward.
So no, I haven't made it down. I have seen people come through, locals come through, and kill it. You know, when I lived in Grand Junction for a while, I would hit that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it was 12-mile bike ride from my house, so
Oh wow.
it was
Yeah.
something that we hit a lot. But
Where's your favorite beach?
I love Sedona. I went there last year and just really, I liked it better than Moab, actually. Yeah.
Really?
I did. I thought there was more to see, honestly. I thought the trails were about equal and
a lot
tag and
of
everything.
similar styles.
Yeah.
for sure.
And I liked the uphill tag.
That
And
red,
Moab was
that red
cool, but in my experience in Moab is you get to the top and you ride to the bottom, and that's awesome. Do Portal Trail and all those stuff
Mhm.
up at the top of the Gold Bar Rim and everything. But Sedona was cool because you started from the bottom, you rode to the top, and then you rode back to the bottom.
Yeah, Sedona has a lot more out and backs or big loops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as much elevation, although you start off with a decent amount of elevation just in Sedona by itself. A lot of people don't realize how high you are in Sedona. I think Sedona's around 65 to 7,000 feet of elevation just starting off.
Yeah.
So anything you go up, you feel it for sure if you're not used to that. And you would think because it's where it is that it would be super like hot, but the weather's good, right?
God,
You
It's
get out, you
beautiful.
fly into Phoenix, and you're like, okay, this is just going to be miserable. It's 102 degrees in Phoenix, and you go up as you start to go up in that elevation, it gets cooler and cooler.
Yeah.
We actually got stuck. Me and a guy named VJ and Nick Greaser got stuck on a ledge in Sedona, an ice ledge, and thought that we had to actually get rescued.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, we made it out.
Okay.
We made it out. That's just that's another story. We're gonna have a podcast where we just tell stories the entire podcast. That's what we want.
Is that what we're doing?
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's good. There's a good question from Dave MTV or DMV MTV. What's the good trail for beginners? So if you have somebody brand new, where do you typically?
Rockburn.
Rockburn.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually think after Rockburn, you should go to Woodstock. Because I think you cross the road into Avalon and then you're very quickly down a valley and getting up the valley. I mean, everybody can argue there's whether it's ridge or carrots or something to come up there, but you're really kind of stuck at the bottom and maybe hiking a bike if you're a beginner. But I think after you do Rockburn, you feel good about that. That Woodstock loop is just waiting for you. There's nothing crazy. We don't have a ton of tech. The
Are
hills
you talking about the quarry?
Yeah, the quarry loop. You can
Okay.
go to the end.
Okay, no, I see
it's,
that.
it's accessible. You
I
can
see
get lost as much as you can. I feel like you can kind of get, and over your head in Patasco if you just
100%. If you don't
Yeah,
know where
if
you're
you-
going, I say it all the time. If you're just going to trail exploring at Patasco,
You're gonna get
you're
lost.
gonna go down to the river.
Yeah.
And
How many hikers have you come across?
Oh
They
my
have
gosh.
little kids and they're literally on the other side
Mhm.
Oh,
of
yeah.
the river from where they're supposed to
I
be.
can't remember.
And
what
you're
was
like-
the park
I tell them you can't get there from here.
You can,
now. Nope.
I mean, sometimes.
Yeah.
We're stuck. They're on Landing Road and they're parked at the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't get there.
It's for real though.
It's called an Uber.
It's
You're,
called-
you're taking an Uber right now. That's how you're getting back.
We've been putting in for a little lift access, I think, for a
Oh.
couple years now, but the park just hasn't responded.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's not going to happen at 500 feet of elevation. I don't know. I don't know if they.
Is it? It's not fun.
I don't. It might
It's
not.
gotta
Even,
be like 100.
it's more than that. I want to say at top from the bottom of the river to the top of
To the parking lot?
no, it would be Hilltop.
But yeah.
I think that's going to be the highest point around the Hilltop area.
Okay.
And I think it might be now. I'm talking all the way up Hilltop to the top, like basically Frederick Road. I think it might be
Oh, okay.
like 500 feet. Of
Wow.
elevation.
All right.
Does anybody know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody know? I'm
Strava will
guaranteed.
tell you.
Strava tells everything. Right? Strava don't lie.
How did you go from XC racing, your spin, to
Yeah.
baggies and door? What was that transition?
I wanted to make friends. That was my biggest thing. So I came here.
We would have been friends with you.
I tried so hard. Yeah, I came down here by myself. I didn't have anybody to ride with.
Where'd you
Actually,
come from?
Maine. I went to grad school in Maine. I came down here, and the second day I moved here, I did a Saturday mountain bike ride with Sickle.
Okay.
And it was fast friends immediately. And I'm still very good friends with everybody out there. And I was hearing everybody's like, oh, I got to contact this Erin, Muddy Pedals and Erin. And I think I really awkwardly texted you one time. I was like, how do I find information about this? And you never answered. And that's okay. I forgive you. But I did.
Yeah.
I showed up to a ride like a year and a half later. I was
Service.
like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my little tight spandex, my tiny bike, and like everything you could do wrong, all the bad habits, I had them. And they were so ingrained because I'd been riding with my family since I was like 12. So it's like 10 years of just bad habits. And I made friends day one, Becky.
Yes.
Yeah, and everybody was very nice to me, even though you had your opinions behind closed doors. But yeah, you took me under your wing, and honestly, I think I am the rider I am today because of you and Muddy Pedals. It was the first year, year one, I did campsite sessions, and
What is
Kelly.
that?
So that was that weekend that Erin was talking about, Friday to Sunday, and it's just skills. It's just like all the skills you can take in plus group rides, and just 50 women around a campfire is a very powerful thing. And it was amazing. I made new friends. I got amazing coaches. Kelly Hazelgrove, my coach that year, I believe, and it just changed my world. I mean, we went from bike body position to bunny hops in 48 hours, and
Nice.
it was working.
Yeah.
And actually, I had borrowed Linz's Kona for that
That's right.
because my tiny little bike, I think I was cracked or whatever, and it was immediately the next day I got back to Maryland because this is down in Stokesville, and I bought the bike. I bought the exact same bike. I was like, I need this. This was the key thing, and ever since then, it's been a totally different kind of riding. I bought my baggy pants, and I was ready to go.
So do you like to see, what side brings you more joy? Like seeing people get way up or seeing people progress from the low end? You know what I mean? Like, do you like to see, for me, I always feel like I give Paul accolades because he's fast and he does what he does. But between us, I like guys like Ed to watch them progress from zero and go to like here, because I feel like, you know, they're fighting for it and it's more genuine. Everything's so new to them, right? Like they get over a log and it's like the craziest thing they've ever done, right? He gets over logs fine, right? You know, the big thing that I'm waiting for him to do is win a national. Once he wins a national, that's where I want to be, that same feeling, right? But what do you enjoy more? The low end achievements or the higher end achievements? Like, I mean,
Honestly, it's everything for different reasons. So I love coaching fundamentals, like those brand new people who have never had a fundamentals clinic, and you're literally showing how to stand up on their pedals, and then the bike body separation. They do something, and you see this like light bulb and this excitement, and they get it.
right.
That's awesome. The end of a fundamentals clinic, nothing beats the end of a fundamentals clinic. But honestly, the same excitement, I said nothing beats it. It's all close. But like when Rachel shows up with skills, but then we refine them. So like you could get over the log, but then to be able to refine them by using like coaching techniques from the skills, I don't know, that's cool to me.
And like having somebody come in with fear and then you teach them the right way and then
Yeah.
that goes away. And it's just like they leave with excitement and they can't wait to try something new and bigger.
You guys get to the point that don't even know shit about it.
Yeah, but you know
Oh,
what? That's almost easier because it's like, buddy, they're like an unmarked,
No bad habits.
like a
Yeah.
totally blank canvas. So you can start new.
Right.
But undoing somebody, we have pro riders that
I
come
was
to
gonna say
us.
roadies at first.
Oh, it's so hard.
Sorry.
But the minute they let that go,
It's always-
it's
It
just
boils-
too restricting.
Yeah.
Could you change the name to spandex? That's gonna be the name of it.
Why? Why you should never wear spandex in the list.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
There's gonna be a lot of people out here that doesn't, they don't like that.
You
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, thank you. So, all right, so you're at that point now where you have all these people coming in. So what if a guy wants to come in and say, hey, you know what? Teach me. Because let me tell you now, 100%. They have some girls on here that will outride most of the guys I know. 100%. Strava doesn't lie. All right? Tell you that right. Strava don't lie. So, you know, if a guy wanted to come on and say, can you, I know you guys are good coaches. I want the best. Can you coach me?
100%. Like,
Yeah.
as far as coaching goes, like, I'll coach anybody. You'll coach anybody.
Yep.
The only thing that's really kind of sacred to, we call it our Women's Plus community. So it's anyone who identifies as female or non-binary. We really want to open up the doors to like just the non-represented populations in the mountain bike world.
Gotcha.
So our Monday night rides and a lot of our clinics are kind of saved for those groups, but like private instruction, like individual one-on-one or small group instruction, we don't care.
So I think a lot, especially locally, I think a lot of people automatically think that it's only for women, right? Like, period.
We get a lot of questions about like, we want this for men. I'm like, yeah, you have all your group rides and stuff. Like literally every other group ride is for you. But I understand they want the instruction piece
Right.
because that doesn't exist for them in the
Right.
same environment that we created.
Right. So what doesn't exist for us is how organized you guys are, right?
But there's probably if you think about it, why is that? In your opinion, why is that? Why can you call it a safe space? I call it a space where the women have to deal with a male ego, right? And, they come in and just like, I don't know anything, and it's okay. Right?
Yeah.
That's totally okay, and it's welcome. And so
Because testosterone keeps us from,
I was trying,
right?
but that we don't have that. We don't have a space for that. Where you and I do it, but we don't do it. We do it as black and tan.
Right.
But to some extent, we're not leading any guys. It's just not.
No, it's
It's a lot.
what we do with our friends, like, you know what I mean? Perfect example is you get a group of guys together. I flew to France to go watch the Tour de France. We went there with a handful of guys. We didn't really have an agenda. We just all got an Airbnb, and we just trying to plan a freaking ride. Every day was an argument. There was so much like it was because literally we all want to beat our chest and say, no, I'm leaving you. But we can't get over our own like testosterone levels or whatever it is. But we just couldn't get over ourselves and nearly ruined the whole trip because of that. I feel like women can get together and just make it happen. You know what I mean? Where we are a lot of times, if it's not organized and it's not a person that says, okay, this is the ride leader, he's going to lead, blah, 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 we're going to do this and that. I don't think it'll happen. If we dropped everybody from Black and Tan and we all went on a trip to Cali and we didn't have something like written out and could you imagine the chaos that would happen in that house?
No. I don't do that.
You wouldn't be there. You're smart enough to know that.
I think women can plan events fairly well.
Mhm.
I also think we've spent a lot of years kind of developing what we have on a Monday night.
Yeah.
And during COVID, we got thrown an enormous amount of women at one time. So up to that point, we had a max of like 30. But that was like our main ride ever, 30. We're like, yeah, we had 30, that's awesome. And we had 80, like all of a sudden. And so, but because how we work is like, okay, who's going to do this and who's going to do this and how do I had a whole crew texting me like, okay, we need like a group chat. And so we started like a Facebook group chat and then we had like a little Zoom and we figured out how we're going to do signage for numbers and blah, blah, blah. You made like
The organization chart.
yeah, so you can
Yeah.
figure out which group that you're in and all the descriptions for each of the groups. But even with all of that, it is a huge undertaking every single Monday night. I was asking a few people, like, do you think we're the biggest organized women's mountain bike ride like in the country? Like, where do we rank?
Right.
And so I saw a few others. Somebody, one of my friends sent me a few. I was like, oh, they only happen like every couple months. And you have to pre-register. And then they have caps for them. And, it's like 40, 50, 60 women. I'm like, oh, we do it every single week that we can weather-wise. It's pretty cool.
So
I don't know.
it was not intentional to go from 30 to 80 with any.
No.
If you think about
And
that
it was like 1 week.
from a
In
business
1 week.
perspective, it's more than 100% growth in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And so, what is your intention now? I mean, it's not going to. I don't think it's going to get smaller, right?
No, so I think through COVID, a lot of people like went outdoors and they became active and blah, blah. And a lot of now bikes are sitting unused. But now with our community, I think because it is a community, right? They joined something. They didn't just like get a bike and go for a ride or get a pair of hiking boots and go on a hike. Like they got a bike, they joined a group, and now they're part of a community. So they got reeled in. Which I was thinking about over the last couple weeks. Like, that's cool. That is cool. Now we have these people in it for life, hopefully. And life goes through, waves for different reasons. But like people have mountain biking.
But people make tight, close friendships during that. And people advertise for us without even us asking. And people post all the time, like, where are my friends that are interested? And we have one group dedicated to people who have never been on a mountain bike before or never been on mountain bike trails before. And every week there are people in that group.
Yeah.
We are always getting new people joining. And I think that the members speak for themselves. Like, they're inviting friends, they're inviting family to come down. When we get 80 people, all of a sudden people come out of the woodwork and be like, how can I help? Can I be a leader? Am I ready for this? Everybody's stepping up.
What about the kids?
Yeah, I was just saying, where are the girls? Where are the young girls? What are we doing?
Yeah, so through starting women's programs, obviously the kids came up, and I think I tried to count this year, and I think this was the 8th year of my kids' summer camp program. So it's not just for girls, but actually this year we did have a girls only week for the first
Tell
year.
us about your summer camp.
Mini pedals,
Okay.
mountain bike camp. We run it out of the Pickle area of Patapsco. Right now it's 3 weeks 3 weeks every other week in the summer, because all of the coaches will not make it all summer. If we do it every week, I need them to come back.
Right.
So we do it every other week, and it's incredible. Yes, it's mountain biking, but it's so much more than mountain biking, which is really the same as all of it. But watching these kids grow and like conquer trails and make friends is incredible. And honestly, even better than the kids that are there for camp is the coaches, like the young coaches. They have to deal with like conflict resolution and communication with each other, and it's just really cool to watch.
How many young girls in each camp?
So we have 45 kids in each camp, and then our we did a 4th week this year that was girls only, and we had 15.
Okay.
And leading up to it, I was like, I'm never doing that again. I was tired, right?
Yeah.
This is week 4, but I hadn't done it yet. Best week of the whole summer. It was awesome.
And the age ranges?
6 to 12. So we do 6, so they've like been in kindergarten, they understand like group structure and dynamics of getting line. And then once they hit 12, they can do NICA and things like that.
That's fabulous.
It's really cool to watch.
Are you guys involved in NICA?
That's a great question. So my 12-year-old, he swore off mountain bike because everyone around him mountain bikes. And today he committed to doing NICA. Today.
It's amazing.
Well, we can't talk about it because if he sees this.
Mom!
Quickly run away. But my 8-year-old, she comes every single week. She is in it. She wants to shred,
Nice.
and it's awesome.
Don't look. Keep talking.
There are no
Yeah,
questions.
there are no questions. There's
I got it.
Nobody's watching.
so. All right.
I'm still worried about 80 going to 100. You're not worried.
But yeah, I worry about it every day. Don't pick it up. No, I say often if for some reason people are off and kids don't have sports, and I don't know, there's a random day that everyone can show up, we're in like major trouble. We will have hundreds
Well,
there.
mostly because Rockburn parking.
Yeah.
Like we got the leaders, we got the enthusiasm, everybody's stepping up. But
Yeah.
Rockburn parking is tight.
It's
Yeah.
tight, and there isn't really a great other option. Like
Yeah.
you need some dirt trails for those beginner riders. Really hard. And so Rockford is perfect. It's
We-
perfect. for us.
We rode through Rockburn today, and every single route has spray paint on it
Yeah.
to make sure.
That's
And
awesome.
I would say
We were riding. We're like, wow, somebody spent
a lot of time.
It's for runners.
It goes up.
It was a race.
We literally today was the funniest thing. So, a couple crazy things happened. Paul tried to go over a 2x4 log. We were flying, and his back wheel slid off, and he did a power slide down the log like a BMXer, all the way down, popped out on the other side, kept it moving, right?
Totally.
And we were like, man, I had a camera for that. That would look sick, right? We go around the corner, and we literally come to the middle of, I'd say 60 girls.
Yeah.
60
Two cross-country track teams.
Oh boy.
getting ready to start, and we're in the middle of the start of the race.
Oh.
So we come up, and I only saw like 3, so I go, bikers up, and I think it's just the 3 as we turn the corner. It's an army, right? And they literally all, at the same time, they all parted for us, right? And it was like, and then they started cheering for us, right? And I'm like, why couldn't we have the cameras going? That was the sickest moment ever. But yeah, Rockburn is a great place to start. Super easy trails as far as it's just enough mountain biking to call it mountain biking, right? It's not gravel,
For sure.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, any smoother, any more chill, I would say it's more of a gravel path, right?
Mhm.
Just enough roots, just enough rocks, just enough elevation to challenge a beginner mountain biker and teach them how to at least position themselves, balance, and things like that.
And there's good flow there too. Like it's a good way to learn.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah, for
one
sure.
particular section.
Switchbacks and like.
Yeah. Or if if the trails aren't crowded, you can actually, as an advanced cross country person, go out and just rip some really good like times and keep your speed up. And like you said, at higher speeds without bank turns, you learn how to position yourself. You learn how to put your feet in the right position so you can get around corners without speeding. But yeah, Rockburn's a great place. But like you guys say, well, do they let you park at the school?
We did last winter for night rides. The parking's okay. It just, as long as there's not like a baseball tournament happening.
Oh, yeah.
And we can go up the hill to like towards the skills park and
Right.
that.
But it gets full. If you come by there on Monday night, you'll see us.
Yeah,
You
it's,
can't miss It's great. It's just car to car with like in the back.
So I hear people say it all the time as they're going down the trail. Man, I saw like 30 women
Yeah.
coming flying down the trail. Like, yeah, that's Money Pals. Oh, they do that all the time. I'm like,
99% of people we come across on the trail are super positive and love it.
yeah.
We'll write the C interior one.
Oh, definitely. If you guys would
Absolutely.
come between our group,
Yeah.
like you
Oh, yeah,
could.
for sure.
You know, and most of the time, most when they come through those groups, they try to do a little something, they do like a log, and it's funny. It's cool to watch that. I like to see the skills they're going to show.
Yeah,
It's really cool. You can definitely.
No pressure. No pressure. No pressure.
We're watching.
Yeah.
When you're going on your own task, what's your
Oh, middle of Tapsco, 100%. Yeah, get away from the crowds. I love the Rockburn Hollow Fields area, so you should do like a loop around there, start in Ellicott City, do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People that maybe tuning in that don't know about Patasco, Patasco's not just our shop name. We've named our shop after the park, this big state park we have. It's made up of 4 different segments. So Avalon is the one that's right down the street from our Elbridge location, and it's the most popular. You're going to go in the Avalon, they'll shut it down because there's too many people inside the park. They'll actually close the gates. You can't get into the park. Too many people. The middle section is like Pickall and Woodstock, around that area. Now, that area is a lot more challenging riding,
It's good stuff.
a lot of elevation, not nearly as accessible to people, just even hikers. So you'll find you can get on the trail and you can ride there and you may not run into another mountain biker or hiker or anybody else. You'll see equestrians there. You'll see a lot of,
it's a good place to rock.
yeah. So there's whole sections that I'm not going to say are dedicated to rocks, but that's pretty much all. Roxy, Tarzan, Jane.
Yeah.
There's
whole.
yeah.
Yeah, the whole range.
Rockhaven, that whole area is you get a little. The cool thing about Patasco is you can get a little bit of everything. You can get like flowy, you can get rocky tech, you can get not very long downhills, but you can get some downhills.
We
as
just
well.
had all enduro.
Yeah.
And then the whole-
By the way, speaking of enduros, I like to believe I invented enduros. By the way, I had a race in Patasco, an underground race in Patasco, where it was a downhill race, but we didn't have long enough downhills, so I had a 5-stage downhill race, is what I call it, in Patasco, and we're talking 2002. So I invented enduros. Now,
You heard it here.
You heard
Yep.
it.
First.
you guys didn't know that about me, did you?
I did.
Yeah.
Well, the sport you invented, I think, is one of the most fun ways to race.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you know, of course, some people don't know what enduro is. Enduro is a timed race, but they're only going to have time between the downhill segments that they have. You have an overall time that you have to kind of finish it, of course, so you're not just dragging everything on. But in between the segments, you can just chill, hang out with your buddies, ride to the next segment, and when you get to the next segment, it's full on. To the
It's like
bottom.
how you ride a bike. Well, it's
a
how
The children ride it bike.
Yeah, it's not like how he rides a bike.
Yeah.
He don't ride bikes.
Is there another version of that for you where you race the uphills and then you chill on the downhills?
No,
Just call it.
no.
Just go
He-
fast.
yeah. He just goes fast.
Well,
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Yes. He goes from 21
Today he's sulking because hypothetically he may have thrown me under the bus on Monday, so today was a statement. Like, keep up with me, big guy.
Okay, when we popped out, we only rode the road from here to the trail. He averaged 11, all trail. I averaged 10. He was literally towards the middle, and I was hurt. He was waiting for me most of the time. But that's normal. I know he's going to do that to me, right? And I was so tired that I didn't even try to push the down. And what's the point? Because that's just going to add fuel to the fire. If I push it too hard on the downhill, first of all, I'm tired. I'll probably crash. Second of all, even if I got a little bit ahead of him, I'm always ahead. I just like the way they hug. Hug. Makes me feel like I'm getting hugged the entire time we ride. And sometimes when I ride with him, I need to feel like I need a hug. That's right. So yeah. So all right. Back to Muddy Pedals. Your point was made.
I think
like
indoor racing is fabulous. I think it's
right.
Yeah.
Your point was made though. I retract my Monday statement.
Listen, I love the dirt. Probably the best time I've ever had on the dirt was actually doing down in Grand Target. Wow.
Nice. It's good.
And it was doing big dirt jumps. And I told you, it was the first time I actually let it go. It's like, it's a sound of nothing except your wheel.
That free will.
And it's just, and you do it again.
Isn't the sound of biking like kind of why you like?
It's hypnotizing. It's like it draws you in and makes you want to do like it especially you know what I mean? Road riding. Yeah, sometimes you get it with the road riding, but not there. I tell people it all the time, like, don't get it twisted. I ride a lot of road, but I am a mountain bike. I tell people that all the time. Like if I got to choose, if I had one bike, someone's like, dude, you got to do all your other shit. You can't ride nothing else. You pick one, and that's it. It's going to be my mountain bike. I'm going to grab my mountain bike, 100%.
I mean, you guys probably find this a lot. And we talked about it a little bit, Rachel. You alluded to it. It's the move that you weren't able to make. Then, with instruction and practice, you make the move. Right?
It's addicting.
There's a couple
Yeah.
of moves into Tapsco where you just go like, I got that rock with this pedal position, you know, and you make the move, and it's like you did it for how long?
And everybody has their nemesis, right? Like their thing.
Yeah.
And then you get it and then it changes. And then
Yeah.
it becomes your thing again.
But that's the cool thing about community is like Erin would be like, I got the rock, or I did this one thing, and you can appreciate that. Like you can appreciate the skill. We're all tight together. We know what rocks we're talking about. We know the areas, you know, like the floaty switchback or something like that. Like
You
you
take the
know,
left around the log and then you go right in that one right there. You're like, oh yeah.
and everybody's working on it. Everybody's talking about
Yeah,
it,
sure.
and you can really appreciate when somebody does something like that. Like,
So where did the idea come from? Like you're riding with like, say you're riding with Lightning Road Crew, this bunch of dudes.
Yeah, I was riding with a bunch of dudes. And I had one other friend who was a female who I was riding with, and we were like, why are we the only ones out here? And mountain biking's life changes. It's life changing for me. I think it's life changing for like most of us that are out there. Like, why are there not more women on the trail? And that's where it came from. Like literally, how do we just break down the barriers?
Yeah, I used to actually use that to my advantage, like my wife. I'm like, dude, you do realize there are no women on the trails. There's just not. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't happen. Mondays. All married men are running around on the trails on Monday. All the night, right? But yeah, there was a need for it, right? Just like I always go back to, there was a need for like bringing diversity into cycling also, not just for the longest time. I was the only black dude that was riding in the park, right? And any other black dude that would start riding in the park would all from the other side of the park, they would get called my name. That's how you know I was the only one, right? Because Corey Corey Hopkins first started riding Patapsco, he used to get pissed. He's like, dude, if someone else calls me Donald while I'm riding, we look nothing alike, except for we both have darker skin. And, you know, there was a need for more diversity, just like there's a need for more diversity, whether it be in the minority setting or the female inclusion setting.
Well, I think it's important to remember we're all going to be voters. We are voters. Our young girls are going to be voters. Somebody's going to want to develop something.
Oh my
And you know what I'm
gosh.
saying? So the more
Yeah.
people that we have involved in the sport, the more likely we are to keep the sport around.
People don't realize how much goes into keeping
Trails.
state parks. Never mind mountain biking. Never mind hiking. All this other stuff. Just keeping state parks. Developers want to develop as much as they possibly can. That's such valuable property. It's unbelievable. And the more people that we have that are using it, the more likely it is to stay.
And I'm going to change one of my answers to your first questions.
What's that?
My favorite place to ride is Patapsco.
It's one of mine.
I mean, it really is. You think about it, like, you've ridden a lot of places, right?
Yeah.
I've ridden a lot of places. I'm always so happy to come home to ride these
100%.
trails that are right here.
I say this all the time, and I argue with people all the time. I say if we're just talking trails, not everything else that goes around with, not the canyon, not the river, not this and that.
You
If we're
can't see
just
that while you're riding anyway.
yes, too. But you know what I mean? Like, I think our trails, we truly have single track. Like, we have good trails. Our trails at one point, Patapsco was ranked top 10 in the nation as far as mountain bike destinations and places to ride. A lot of people don't know that. We have I don't even know how many miles of trails we
It
have.
was 220 when I moved down here. We've added 10 or so miles of trails in the
Yeah,
last
I
4
think
years.
it's close to 240.
Yeah.
240 is that total all four sections?
I think it's all of Patapsco and Extensive Liberty.
Okay. So in the DMV area, we have well over 1,000 miles of trail. Just within a 30-minute driving distance of Baltimore, we have over 1,000 miles of rideable trails that are legal for us to ride. What other community that you know of that has that much riding? We're talking all the way up to the watershed, from the watershed to DC, from DC to almost Delaware. Right?
Yeah.
Think about all the riding spots that we have. I don't think we have another community that has that much riding.
And that's why we have to protect.
That's why we have to protect it 100%.
We're getting close to the end, so I want to bring us back. How does somebody get in touch with you guys? They want to join, participate in a ride. If they don't even have a bike, you know, what do they do?
Yeah, great question. I get that question a lot. So we have a website, muddypedals.com, Instagram, Facebook, all of that information on there. If you reach out anywhere, it's me. So my phone number.
Okay.
That's probably how Rachel texted me, and I didn't text her back. So like email me is great. But if you go on the website, it says Ride With Us, and it has all the information about the Monday rides. We have a closed Facebook community group that you have to be approved for.
Okay.
Just because we get a lot of trollers, because we have a lot of women in one space. Yeah, there we go.
We hand this out. I don't know, is it blurry?
You can see it's hard to see the other side.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, you'll put it in
this
the
guy
line.
right here.
When you do the YouTube, put it in the line.
So we need more of these. We've already had, this is probably like my last one.
All right.
So we keep these out and hand them out to people. I think the easiest way to get women on bikes is when they come in and I ask them, well, what do you want to do? Right? "Oh, I want to go mountain biking, but I'm scared. Like, no need to be scared. Well, let's get you on a bike that'll work for what you want to achieve. And then the next thing I do is hand them a card. It's like, here, they will take care of you and they'll get you started. Don't rely on your significant other to do it,
No.
because that's
Don't
just
do
an
it.
argument starting. I promise you.
We've heard a
All
lot.
right. Parting question. Do you remember your first bike and who taught you how to ride?
Yes. It was, what is it? Rock. Specialized rock.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tiny. I learned how to ride when I was too. But really riding when I was 12, that's when I started racing with my family, and it was my dad that got me to ride.
Okay.
And it
Oh,
was
so you
my
come
brother-
from a racing family.
I come from a racing family. Yep, that was the thing we do with my dad, my brother, and I with my dad, and I have amazing memories growing up with that. And when I was 12, I got to racing with my dad, and it just took off ever since. It's really cross country roots, like big time cross country.
Spandex.
So much spandex. But yeah, and I'm super happy with where I am now. Still riding with my dad when he comes to visit.
That's cool.
My mom came
Just
down.
has he ridden Patasko?
He's ridden Patasko. He loves it. He's actually ridden the shed too, which I'm super happy to get him out there. And my mom came down about a month ago. She just started mountain biking.
She's
And
coming to campsite.
She's coming to campsite session. She even stayed for a Monday ride, but it got rained out. But we took her around Woodstock. So a family of riders now.
There you go. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Your first bike. Who taught you to ride?
My dad taught me to ride for sure. I can visualize it. Had white tires. It was kind of like one of those like bigger BMX bikes with those little like plastic color things on each spoke that would move as you went
Nice.
around. And I was racing. I'm pretty sure my dad down the street and turned into the driveway, and I had no skills then. And I just slid out, and I still have like this little scar.
There you go.
I remember that,
All right.
but
That's cool.
yeah.
When did you first get on the dirt?
2004, 2005, like right at the end of college. And then I moved to Richmond right after college by myself. And I was like, I need something to do. So the first real thing I bought with real money, like, my first job,
Right.
was a Kona Kickapoo. So it was my
I remember that.
full suspension,
Remember
right?
It's wild that
I
I
was
remember
like,
like bikes.
I spent $1,100 on my bike. Oh my.
It's crazy that I can remember like individual bikes like from people. Like I can remember. It's just weird. I mean, thousands and thousands of bikes that I see, and I can remember. Oh yeah, I remember you had that bike. I remember that
I think you found your calling.
bike. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's at home watching. She's probably at home watching right now.
That's a true story.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for joining us and thank you for coming in. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We'd like to hear that you go over 100 and deal with that as a problem. But
Absolutely, we'll take that problem.
That's a good problem.
100%.
I think what you're doing for just the diversity in the community is fantastic. And like I said, we've got to protect what we got. People that do it, people are likely to protect it. So
That's right.
Absolutely.
So if you're a Muddy Pedals member, subscriber, or whatever else, join Black and Tan also. Don't forget to subscribe and leave some comments on Black and Tan. It's going to get better. Every single time we do this, it gets better and better. We have more and more exciting people on. Especially we're mostly doing people from our community around, like locally. And again, I don't know if you know our goals and what we plan on doing. We're going to be a nonprofit. We're trying to get back to the community and mostly with the kids. We're trying to get back to the kids. We'll be selling merch. Eventually, we'll get our merch up and everything like that. But all the profit that we make off of any of this stuff is going to go back towards our youth development, as far as like
NICA, VYC,
Yeah.
those organizations.
that's right. That's
So
right.
you guys, absolutely want it.
Yeah, kids.
You got to get kids.
Kids on bikes.
Yeah.
It's not
So
like
they become voters.
Adults in the voting.
They become adults and voters, and that's what keeps us, especially mountain biking. Road riding, maybe not so much, but mountain biking, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I love what Rachel said about it's like for you, it's a memory of family. Right?
Yeah.
Biking it's the
Yeah.
Men need stuff together. Like that's how we operate. We operate by
Yeah.
and so
Mhm.
that's a family.
It
That's
is.
something that's
Yeah.
just a bond. So it's-
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. And
Black and Tan 0.0075% faster. Everybody knows. Do you have Black and Tan tires?
Not yet.
yeah,
I have
do you want to be a little faster?
0.0075% back.
100%. Sold.
So.
There you go.
Take care.
All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great night, everybody.